হ্যালো, আমার নাম ইয়াসার। এখন রাত 1:30, 16ই জানুয়ারি 2025। আর আমার হঠাৎ করে আজকে পডকাস্ট বানাইতে ইচ্ছা করছে, and that's what I'm doing right now. Some of the last podcast episode বানানো হয়েছিল আজকে থেকে 1 বছর আগে। এটা আপলোড করেছিল 2023 সালের 23শে ডিসেম্বর, আই থিঙ্ক। আর এখন এটা কখন আপলোড হবে, I have no idea. Probably like in the next 48 hours, probably. So anyways, আমাদের মাঝখানে একটা হিউজ গ্যাপ ছিল, অফকোর্স। লাস্ট এপিসোড বেরিয়েছে 1 বছরের বেশি সময় আগে, ক্যান বেরিয়েছে। আমরা আদৌ আবার ব্যাক করে এসে কথা বলবো কিনা, উই ডিডন্ট লিভ ইন এক্সপ্লেনেশন, কাউকে কিছু বলা হয় নাই। এই গুটি কয়েকজন মানুষ যারা আমার পডকাস্ট শুনতো, তারা অনেকেই রিচ আউট করছে, ওর লাইক ফেস টু ফেস দেখা হলে জিজ্ঞেস করছে লাইক, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ উইথ দ্য পডকাস্ট, তোমরা অ্যাকচুয়ালি করবা কিনা। Some people like really wanted us to continue with this thing. Just like কারোর তখন কখনো কিছু লাইক ডিফিনিটিভলি কোনো আনসার দিতে পারি নাই যে yeah we're coming back or whatever, and then এরকম করতে করতে 1 বছর পার হয়ে গেছে। সো আজকে আমি কি নিয়ে কথা বলবো, I have no idea, but let's start with the podcast. Let's start with the story of the podcast, like how it started, why we started it, or then I guess we'll talk about the last 1 বছর কি হয়েছে, কেন আমরা পডকাস্ট করি নাই, and then maybe I'll talk about films, I don't know. Well, let's see where it goes. So yeah, we'll just let it take me, wherever the conversation flows. But anyway, আজকে basically আমি নিজেই রেকর্ড করতেছি, so there is nobody here, as you could have probably already predicted, because রাতে 1টার সময় অফকোর্স কেউ মানুষ পোলাপানের নিয়ে বসে পডকাস্ট করে না, I guess. So where the podcast started, so the origin story of the podcast, right? তো আমি I don't know, ছোটবেলা থেকে শুরু করা উচিত কিনা। So I'm personally খুবই interested in films, and I've been for like a decade or more. I don't know, যতদিন ধরে বাইজে আছি, যতদিন since the first day I watched a film, ততদিন থেকে আমি মোটামুটি ফিল্ম নিয়ে প্যাশনেট আসছিলাম। আমার সাথে যারা যদি পডকাস্টে হোস্ট করতো, my friends রামিম, সূর্য, and sometimes আঞ্জাম, ফারহান। So এই মানুষগুলোর সাথে আমার পডকাস্ট নিয়ে লাইক অ্যাকচুয়ালি খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং কনভারসেশন হইতো before starting the podcast, of course. And I personally wanted it to be recorded, কোনো জায়গায় থাকলো, and sometimes I would meet other people যারা actually film নিয়ে interested, but we would not be able to meet them frequently. So even though we would meet these people, আমাদের সাথে তেমন কোনো কমিউনিকেশন থাকতো না, যে film নিয়ে ডিসকাস করার কোনো স্কোপ ছিল না। So wanted something to exist যেটা we would put out in the world, and maybe some people we know, they could listen to it. So that's basically how it kind of started. I mean, another biggest reason was that আমি personally একটু বেশি কথা বলতে পছন্দ করি, I guess, mostly about films. So আমি কথা বলে যখন বলতাম, I kind of like, I just needed like a space. So I want to make sure that I exist outside of my circle. I don't know, it's probably, it just gets, what I'm trying to say is the podcast was more like a personal thing. It's like a personal product that I wanted to exist. I mean, like I did like collaborate with other people to do this, and I guess they kind of agreed. It's more of a personal project to me, because I've been the person who was like so passionate or so enthusiastic about the entire podcast thing. By the way, the podcast is called We Talk Films, I guess. So far, আজকের episode first time podcast নাম নিলাম, anyways. And that's how we started. একদিন আমরা, যেহেতু আমি আর রামিম, we were like, he's like one of the closest friends I've ever had. One of the biggest reasons we clicked, because kind of আমাদের artistic passion, or what do you call it, like আমাদের aesthetic অনেক সময় মিলে. Like we were both interested in really weird fucking stuff, and that includes like horror stuff. So Halloween at the end, we kind of planned to like, okay, let's start this podcast, and the first episode gonna be on Halloween, because Halloween is a very quirky thing. So yeah, আমাদের কতগুলো তখনকার দেখা কতগুলো হরর মুভি নিয়ে আমরা আলাপ করলাম, and that kind of started it. And I guess কোনো expectation ছিল না, but it kind of started well. And even though we didn't become like a national phenomenon or whatever, আমাদের আশেপাশের এলাকার মানুষজনই অনেকে শুনছে যাদের সাথে we would otherwise wouldn't be able to meet, right? So অনেকে এরকম করে রেগুলারলি শুনতো, senior, junior, classmates, friends. And I guess at times we would get like a really good amount of positive feedbacks. And yeah, that a total podcast experience stuff for when যতদিন ধরে আমরা করছি মোটামুটি আমি personally feel করছি যে it was a very fulfilling experience. Like I met like people যাদের আমি আগে চিনতাম না, and somehow they listened to my podcast. So they reached out and we became friends when we talked about films. Yeah, so it was just kind of awesome যে ইন্টারনেটে কন্টেন্ট ক্রিয়েটর যারা অনেকের like হাজার হাজার লাখ লাখ সাবস্ক্রাইবার্স or টুইটারে মিলিয়ন ফলোয়ার্স আছে or whatever, they sometimes say যে like internet তারা they could like meet people online and how amazing it is to meet people online and make friends. Yeah, it kind of sounds like a cliche or whatever, but I experienced it firsthand, so I don't know, it felt kind of amazing as well. Anyway, so if we have a kind of podcast চলতেছিল, definitely we didn't get like huge amount of traction that we wanted. So the podcast didn't stop because we didn't like doing the podcast. It was more like podcast korte moja chilo. There we would do like a lot of research, and তারপর we would put together whatever we wanted to talk about, and then the podcast record করা হইতো, you know. And we personally podcast পুরো process time enjoy করতাম except for one thing, সেটা হলো editing. I think editing is like one of the most taxing things you could do. I mean, specifically, I mean, একটা যে কোনো specific podcast, I think 60% time তো আমি কথা বলি, or maybe even more than that, 75%, I don't know. 75% যখন আমি নিজে কথা বলতেছেন, then আমি যখন এটা edit করবো, I'm probably listening to my own voice like 2-3x more time than I probably should. I don't know, it just feels like a huge waste of time. And I think one of the main reasons যে podcastটা kind of stop হয়ে গেছিল যে, you know, no one really wanted to do the editing, so we kind of had that one big excuse to stop the podcast. We stopped the podcast in whatever December 2023, and it's not like এরপর আমরা কখনো podcast করতে চাই নাই. We definitely did want to do the podcast. So we started the podcast in, I guess, October. So October আমাদের যখন second year kind of anniversary with the sale of the podcast, we wanted to do like a special episode, and we kind of planned one out, but it's like you know, যখন অনেক দিন ধরে you don't do something, it kind of becomes like I don't know, weird. You know, we wanted to do it. It kind of sounded like, so basically I wanted to do the podcast, so I kind of like made a list. Okay, like this is the topic, these are the films that we're going to talk about. So I sent the list to the other people, you know, other co-hosts and stuff, and then be like, you know, let's do the podcast, these are the films that we should talk about. They'll be like, yeah, let's do the podcast. You know, it's like that meh type of answer. I don't know, like, yeah, sure, let's do it, you know, like that. Oh yeah, whatever. So easy, you know, this side kind of I'm not even sure what to even call it, but yeah, this side is spirit silona. So eventually that didn't happen, and I mean, it occurred like multiple times, you know, during the absent phase. We wanted to revive the podcast, we wanted to do a few episodes, at least a couple of episodes, but it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And how do I feel about it? Personally, I mean, extremely regret not doing the podcast. I mean, one of the few takeaways was, you know, sometimes আমরা যেটা করি যে, I mean, I like doing the podcast, so sometimes what we do is just I mean, আমরা যেটা পছন্দ করি, we just put it aside and think that, you know, we have like this one thing to achieve, that's where, I mean, আমরা sure on as we আমরা actually চাই কিনা to achieve that, আমরা আমাদের like what we currently enjoy or what we currently want, we just put them aside for the for sake of something that আমরা actually probably চাইও না. We're just confused about it, but society tells us yeah, that's what we need, that's what we're supposed to do at that point. We go about it. So that's kind of what we did at that point. It kind of made sense for each of us. Yeah, this is the point where we shouldn't put more time into doing the podcast and rather put time in doing something that we're not even sure would achieve would like it or not. But that's like how we should approach. Like সবকিছু বন্ধ করে do this, like study, get to that place, get into that institution and whatever. I mean, I'm not sure. Even if you get there, which I didn't, even if you achieve what you were supposed to achieve and what you kind of like made that throw or target, whatever, even if you achieve it, I'm not sure if it will feel as fruitful as the thing that you enjoyed but you kind of like put aside. So that kind of happened with me, I guess. I mean, it's not like that I achieved whatever I was like aiming for, whatever. But the 2024 kind of felt like could be dry ekta year. Yeah, so I guess this is like the main conversation there. This is what I was like trying to talk about. The 2024 আমার খুবই weird একটা বছর গেছে. Like this is it felt like extremely unproductive because, well, for most part 2024 what I was doing was studying, পড়াশোনা করতেছিলাম, and পড়াশোনা felt kind of unproductive. It kind of is. Like if you're living in 2025 and if you know how the world works, if you know a little bit of economics, if you know a little bit about the history, you'll kind of understand what we study here in Bangladesh for most part is just kind of rubbish, and it will never work in your work, it will never work in your life for most part. So I guess that it wasn't a good decision to put something aside that I really like to do. So talking about films was one of the things that I really like to do, and I still like to do. We continue করা গেছে না specifically. I mean, we were working on short films যেটা I guess first day বলা হয়েছে. I mean, one of the first few episodes আমরা multiple times share করছিলাম যে we worked on short films and we made short films that আমরা বেশ কিছু স্টাফ বানাইছিলাম যেগুলো আমরা multiple film festivals এ submit করছেন. There was like this one Canadian film festival that nobody heard about, যেখানে একটা অ্যাওয়ার্ডের জন্য we even made it to the finalist list. I'm not even sure যে like কতগুলা film submit হয়েছিল, but somehow we made it there. কারো যদি জানার ইচ্ছা থাকে, it used to be called Let's Talk About Water Film Festival. সেটার Youth Film Prizeের জন্য we were selected. And the film we made, the short film we made, it was like 1 minute, and I'm extremely embarrassed to even make that because I was the director. I wrote it, and it's a garbage. আমি জীবনে কারোর সাথে শেয়ার করবো না, but anyways. So এরপরও আমরা multiple project কাজ করছি যেগুলা went on to do some stuff, and there are some stuff that we kind of are proud of. So we জিনিসগুলো kind of 2024 এ continue করা হয় নাই, which is kind of sad, but it was kind of just happened. So yeah, that's basically the reason যার কারণে podcast এতদিন চলে নাই. I'm not sure if it makes sense or whatever. What I learned was whatever you want to do. যেমন আমি আজকে পডকাস্ট করার আগে like it just clicked on my mind like a couple of hours ago. Okay, let's just do the podcast or whatever. And I've been feeling like extremely excited. Personally could be excited feel করতেছিলাম to even do this, even though আমার সামনে কেউ নাই. And দুইটা বাজে whatever বাজে গেছে এখন. I guess দুইটা বাজে না এখন, it's been like 18 minutes, yeah. So দুইটা বাজতে কয়েক মিনিট বাকি আছে. It kind of feels good to be back doing this. আচ্ছা, so basically এতক্ষণ যেটা বললাম যে just আমাদের কেন podcast কিভাবে start হয়েছে and why it started and why we decided to not do it anymore for a period of time. Oh, by the way, so I guess বাকি পোলাপানগুলো শুনতেছে রামিম, সূর্য and আঞ্জাম, and none of them saw it coming, I guess. এরকম করে র্যান্ডম আমি একটা পডকাস্ট করে আপলোড করে দেবো। দে হ্যাভ নো আইডিয়া আই এম ডুইং দিস। আমার অ্যাকচুয়ালি ধারণাও নাই যে তাদের রিয়াকশন কেমন হবে। ইটস প্রবাবলি আইদার গোনা বি yo what the fuck or it's gonna be I don't give a fuck. Anyways, never mind. So basically, why am I fucking laughing? I'm like a fucking joker. I'm personally mone hয়েছিল যে like okay let's do this on a video. So video podcast করতে চাইছিলাম just then I thought that like it would be just me talking in front of a camera for whatever however I don't know like 1 ঘন্টা 1.5 ঘন্টা ধরে আমি কথা বলবো. I'm not sure, probably even less than that. But that would be like so weird. It will look like it'll make me look like a psychopath, someone who's about to kill himself, which I'm not gonna do. Just kidding. Or am I? What the fuck am I even saying, to be honest? Okay, anyways, so basically that's been like kind of the bad side of things. So yeah, so 2024 it's এমন হয়তো মনে হতে পারে যে ওকে আমার কথা শুনে প্রবলেম হতে পারে যে this has been like a disastrous year, এখানে আমি কিচ্ছু করি না, just studied and whatever. But well, it kind of mone hতে পারে like I'm kind of detached from the entire film world. I didn't even watch film, which is wrong. I did watch a whole bunch of films, and I mean মাত্র আমার Letterboxd check করলাম and I've watched like 54 films. So basically এক বছর I think 52 সপ্তাহ. So that pretty much makes it like প্রতি সপ্তাহে একটা করে মুভি দেখছি. So not bad, right? I guess last year অনেকগুলো মুভি দেখছিলাম. I don't even know যে 150-200 or something. I lost count. Last year was like পুরাই mad একটা বছর ছিল. Sorry, আমি এখন last year বলতেছি. Like 2023, I'm talking about 2023. So 2023 was a mad year. অনেক মুভি দেখছি. There was even days যে আমি একদিনে 3-4টা করে মুভি দেখছি. So I guess. And তারপরে 2-3 সপ্তাহ মুভিও দেখি নাই. But you know whatever it took me to like 200 plus films in a year, whatever. I don't know. I mean English আসলে টোটালি বিলাইছি. ইংলিশ আমার প্র্যাকটিস করা দরকার. So 2020 সালে আমি আবার কি বলছি, so 2024 সালে there was I think যতটুকু আমি অবজার্ভ করছি it was a really good year for films. অনেকগুলা really amazing movie বের হয়েছে যেগুলো আমার majority দেখা হয় নাই, but I watched like a few of them, of course like the most popular ones. Yeah, let's like I don't know, maybe talk about something. I should talk about something because you know we talk films here. So basically, even though we didn't do anything, 2024 was kind of like a, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that like it was like an amazing year, or nor was it like a super bad year, but it was kind of like painful. It was 2024 was kind of a real pain. So yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about a real pain. So a real pain হলো 2024 সালের একটা মুভি. Okay. A Real Pain is a really interesting watch. J.C. Eisenberg এই মুভিটা বানাইছে, and I don't know if you know J.C. Eisenberg but there was this film about Mark Zuckerberg. I think it was a social network. I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to search it. So social network basically J.C. Eisenberg ওখানে Mark Zuckerberg থাকে. J.C. Eisenberg ওই বেটা সে নিজে এই মুভি ডিরেক্ট করছে A Real Pain. এই মুভি সে ডিরেক্ট করছে and নিজেই লেখছে of course. And এই মুভিতে সে নিজে অ্যাক্টিংও করছে. So he was like one of the main characters in the entire film. So A Real Pain movie, there's Jesse Eisenberg and there's Kieran Culkin. So Kieran Culkin অনেকে হয়তো বা চিনেন অথবা চিনেন না, I don't know. So Kieran Culkin is like the younger brother of Macaulay Culkin. Who is Macaulay Culkin? Macaulay. So basically Home Alone যারা দেখছে, Home Alone 1 আর Home Alone 2 এটার মধ্যে যে একটা বাচ্চা থাকে, that guy is Macaulay Culkin, or I don't know, just Culkin. So তার ছোট ভাই is Kieran Culkin, যে জেসি আইজেনবার্গের সাথে A Real Pain মুভিতে ছিল. Now the movie is kind of, it's a আগে থেকে বলে রাখি, it's a film about Holocaust. তো এটা Holocaust নিয়ে এই মুভি হওয়ার সত্ত্বেও it's not like any other normal Holocaust movie, ঠিক আছে? The normal kind of Holocaust movie হলো যে there is like war, there is like a story from the perspective of a survivor or whatever. and probably আমাদের অনেকেই এই টাইপের মুভিগুলো দেখছে পার্সোনালি আমার ওয়ার রিলেটেড মুভি ভালো লাগে না it's not because যে I don't even know actually আমার war related movie কেন ভালো লাগে না I just couldn't আমি কখনোই এনজয় করতে পারি না so there was the 2023 or 2023 তে there was this German film I don't know Western Front Quiet on the Western Front I'm ভুলে গেছি anyways so I didn't like that film I couldn't even finish that film দেখে শেষ করতে পারি না and there are many instances যেখানে আমি war movie শেষ করতে পারি না so যেহেতু এর আমি দেখে শেষ করতে পারছি so it wasn't really about the war but it was about the Holocaust. So in movie basically we're seeing like whatever recent years এর কাহিনী there is Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin যারা দুজন কাজিন তো তারা বেসিক্যালি তাদের গ্র্যান্ডমা থেকে আসছে পোল্যান্ড থেকে এসকেপ করে আমেরিকাতে আসছিল and that's how basically whatever happened I mean they happened Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg তাদের ওই গ্র্যান্ডমা উনি কয়েকদিন আগে মারা গেছেন and উনি তাদের জন্য as like I don't know তাদের জন্য কিছু টাকা পয়সা রেখে দিয়ে গেছিলেন so that they could travel to Poland and see where she used to live or where she grew up so it was like that kind of a trip a tour for like the entire movie is basically তারা পোল্যান্ডে গেছেন পোল্যান্ড ঘুরে টুরে আসছে and মাঝখানে just their personal journey and I kind of really loved that film it's not the kind of film that you expect when you hear about it's a Holocaust film it's different so basically it's more of like personal story so there is just two characters Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin they're just one cousin and Jesse Eisenberg is like that kind of a character he has like a family he has a job he lives in New York City could be normal life just day to day kind of person who like goes to work gets his work done comes back home and spends time with his family the kind of like a normal person and he's by the way he's like kind of like a little bit what do you call it like he struggles in social settings so it's kind of like when they was Jesse Eisenberg is kind of a introverted person and there is Kieran Culkin is other cousin সে হলো খুবই outgoing মানে খুবই social he's like the kind of person যে like রুমের ভিতরে ঢুকলে like room আলোকিত হয়ে যায় he's like that kind of person যে he makes the difference so throughout the trip তারা একটা গ্রুপ ট্যুরের মধ্যে থাকে যেখানে the other people with the like same religious background তারা এখানে ডিসকভার করতে আসছে যে তাদের ancestorরা এখানে পোল্যান্ডে ছিল and they kind of traveled different places as a group and Kieran Culkin was like the jolly cousin kind of সবাই একের পর এক ইমপ্রেস করে গেছে because he was like so charming with everyone he's like kind of effortless he's not pretending while Jesse Eisenberg he was kind of like struggling because he's like he's just shy he's kind of collected person so and Kieran Culkin was like more outgoing so it kind of like by the time they come on they're pretty well but there's something wrong inside of Kieran Culkin even though he's like the most jolly person you can ever think of so basically the Kieran Culkin like a background well he's like a very depressed person so Jesse Eisenberg he's a family guy he has a job he's just a normal day-to-day person Kieran Culkin is like a depressed person who doesn't have a job he doesn't know what he's gonna do when he comes back to the US after the trip kind of হপকুরে একটা ক্যারেক্টার হলো Kieran Culkin and যে তার ভিতরে অনেক পরিমাণে pain and depression and sorrow and sadness নিয়ে বসে আছে so why is that there এই part actually clear করা হয় না but যতটুকু show করা হয়েছে it's kind of makes sense যে Kieran Culkin he was really sad that তার grandma died and he was really close to his grandma okay so Kieran Culkin এর grandmaর সাথে তার personally খুবই ভালো connection ছিল but when she died that's like a big part of his sorrow but there are other parts of him there's like at the end of the film there's a really powerful monologue and with Jesse Eisenberg there Jesse Eisenberg we monologue she kind of expressed like what Kieran Culkin was about so Kieran Culkin ওনার ক্যারেক্টারটা সে কয়েকদিন আগে like attempted suicide by taking like a whole bunch of sleeping pills or whatever in the film, of course. Jesse Eisenberg had a kind of monologue. He was crying and she kind of like there's frustration expressed করে in a way. They were talking about at first they were talking about like their grandma. যে ওই মহিলা কিভাবে পোল্যান্ড থেকে আসছে এসে she worked her way up and she made it happen. She at that point Poland or concentration camp, like during the Holocaust it was like the entire kind of like the Europe against every single Jew. আমি দিকে যাইতেছি না আমার খুবই পার্সোনালি আমার হিস্টোরিক্যাল নলেজ এখানে খুবই কম, বাট আই গেস সবাই মোটামুটি জানে যে কনসেন্ট্রেশন ক্যাম্পে ওইখানে কিরকম বাজে অবস্থায় মানুষদের মাইরা ফেলা হইতো। সো ওই এরকম একটা জায়গা থেকে বেসিক্যালি এসকেপ করে আসা, একটা ডিফারেন্ট কন্টিনেন্টে আসার আগ পর্যন্ত you can just imagine the amount of trauma, the amount of struggle, the amount of ওই মহিলা হিউজ পরিমাণে trauma and whatever মধ্যে দিয়ে যা actually she made the escape and she made it in America and she made it. The frustration that এখানেই ছিল যে সিজেনবার্গের যে এতগুলা miracle হওয়া লাগছে for their grandma to be in America to make it there alive. And এত কষ্ট করার পরে ওই মহিলা যখন এখানে আমি কেন এখানে জিনিসটা বলতে পারতেছি না for whatever বলতে পারতেছি না as in like I'm just struggling to find the right words, but she made it there and এত কিছু করার পরে it's like there, I mean everything she did is because of like when you have like such a strong ancestor, you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to be doing things in the world with your head up, তো স্যাক্রিফাইসের পরে যখন Kieran Culkin, who's the other cousin, the sad cousin, he kind of like wanted to kill himself. I mean, that is like a huge frustration. Jesse Eisenberger কাছে যায়, it just doesn't make sense যে এত কষ্ট করে তার দাদি এখানে আসলো and এত কিছু হলো, and they're supposed to be like really strong people. They shouldn't be like sad about every single thing in the world. And then eventually Kieran Culkin, who's like not that strong in his opinion, who's like struggling to live a normal life, I mean, I think that was the real pain. That was the real pain they were talking about. Although I'm not sure. I mean, actually, other interview and other stuff I don't know, so I'm not sure. But আমার কাছে ওই monologue-টা খুবই powerful লাগছে. I mean, personally, probably 2024 সালে আমি যতগুলো মুভি দেখছি, this film has like the most powerful monologue. So it was really good. I guess if you really want it. It's like a slice of life movie. And one thing I didn't like about the film was how Europe is shown. Yeah. So I mean, বুঝলাম যে it's like a kind of like a summer vacation type of way to দেখানো হয়েছে. The color grading is like so, I don't know, kind of like cheerful for most part of the film. That summer color grade, that that aesthetic about the entire film, that's like আমার কাছে kind of like এখন ক্লিশে লাগা শুরু করছে ইদানিং. It's like প্রায় every single মুভিতে মোটামুটি এই জিনিসটা ইউজ হইতেছে. Saltburn. So Saltburn মুভিতেও kind of like same kind of aesthetic color grading. Probably not same, but you can see that's like summer joyous, that's like sunny summer color grading that I didn't like about the film. It's kind of common. I mean, it's a really sad and kind of it's a slice of life movie. So it's supposed, and with that deals with like sad topics, I guess. So a summer kind of color grading use card. Every single thing is intentional in a film. I just personally didn't like it because আমার মনে হয় যে every single film যেটা kind of like Europe দেখানো হয় সেখানে they just use this one same filter and it's kind of overused at this point. I mean, we need to see like Europe as in like Europe. আমরা যদি European মুভিদের কি বলে, if you watch like a Polish film, if you watch like a French film, তখন তারা তাদের দেশগুলো খুবই অন্য কালারে দেখায়. There is this film called The Vanishing. In Europe, I'm specifically not sure যে কোন country, but we film our color grading, there's like a lot more realistic, but that tone could be matched করতেছিল with their color grading. It's not supposed to be so uplifting. It's not supposed to be so joyous because the plot just doesn't vibe with the color. I guess plot এর সাথে কালার বেশি কারেক্ট when you are watching like films from their country মানে ওই কান্ট্রির ভিতরের মুভিগুলো থেকে. So I guess US এর Hollywood specifically struggles with that. That are kind of like they have this stereotypical color grading with different films. So I guess a real pain that এই মুভিটা kind of different হওয়ার try করছে. And I guess it's like a very unique Holocaust film. I guess a little bit of like color grading change থাকলে I guess. I mean, I personally would have liked it. Oh, by the way, Real Pain has like a very unique thing about it. Polander's যে Nazi concentration camp গুলো আছে এগুলো multiple time of course বিভিন্ন মিডিয়াতে শো করা হয়েছে, but they were only part of documentaries. They were never part of any narrative or like fictional thing. So that was like the first time. So we permission পাওয়া, it just kind of like makes sense যে এরকম একটা জিনিসে তুমি পারমিশন পাই একটা ফিকশনাল কিছু করতে পারতেছো. I mean, that kind of pretty much proves like that plot has like some sort of weight, WEIGHT. I mean, that's how they got the opportunity, right? So, anyways, I mean, I'll probably suggest you guys to watch it. And I think quite ঘন্টা আগে BAFTA nomination release হইছে, and A Real Pen probably got like multiple nominations, and also got a nomination in whatever original screenplay category. I'm not sure the best film category তে এখনো পাইছে কিনা, because I mean এখনো BAFTA nomination সবগুলো দেখি. It's kind of what was I talking about? I was talking about like color grading and the importance of color grading to match with the tone of the plot. And এটা বলতে বলতে there is like another film. There is like probably 2024 সালের সবচেয়ে talked about movie, সবচেয়ে popular movie, Anora. I think the color grading in that film is just perfect. And it was directed by Sean Baker. So যারা Sean Baker চিনো না, Sean Baker আমি kind of Sean Baker খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং ওয়েতে পাইছি. It was 2019 সাল I think, and 2020 it was 2020 একদম ফার্স্টের দিকে. So তখন আমার কাছে জাস্ট একটা I wanted to make something, so like short film or whatever, and আমার কাছে জাস্ট একটা iPhone 7 Plus ছিল, and that's basically এখন আমার কাছে এটাই আছে. So iPhone 7 Plus, I just wanted to know like iPhone 7 Plus দিয়ে কি করা যায়. So if there is any film that was shot with that specific phone, so we go search করতে found like there is this one person who actually iPhone 7 দিয়ে একটা film actually shoot করছে, and that film went on to being selected at Sundance Film Festival, which is like the biggest indie film festival in the world. So that was like kind of like really interesting to me, so I wanted to like check it out. So who was the person, what was the film about, and if I could watch the film. So eventually আমি মুভিটা দেখছি. That movie was called Tangerine. এটা বানাইছে Sean Baker, and at that point I think I'm not sure যে মুভি কবে বানাইছে, probably 2014-15 দিকে. That was the time যখন Sean Baker actually like মানুষ নোটিস করা শুরু করছে. Okay, there's this one guy, and he's kind of like এমন না যে সে খুবই young filmmaker, he's kind of old. I think he's like 50 or something. So 2015 সাল whatever, he's like 40. So at the point basically ওই টাইমে when you are like 40 years old, সে ওই টাইমে মোটামুটি মানুষ দ্বারা নোটিস হওয়া শুরু করছে. And then fast forward 10 years, 2025 সালে we're talking about he's probably gonna win at least one Oscar. I don't know, he's like a Oscar front runner. So it's kind of really really cool যারা আমি একজন মানুষ যারা আমি অনেক আগে ডিসকভার করছিলাম, and he kind of inspired me to like কোনো ফোন দিয়ে kind of possible, even though I didn't like Tangerine by the way, but I liked his other film which is Florida Project. And everybody should watch Florida Project, I guess. Not everybody should, but Florida Project was a amazing film. I loved it. But let's talk about Anora again. Anora I guess বেশি কিছু বলা নাই. When I guess personally I think Anora যখন Oscar জিতবে, I mean if it wins Oscar, I guess যদি Oscar জিতে, then I will probably make another episode talking about Anora, I guess. But till then Anora নিয়ে বেশি কিছু বলা নাই. It's like যদি কখনো কোনো রাশিয়ান রাইটার সিন্ড্রেলা লেখা শুরু করতো, then I guess তার লেখা শেষ হলে it would have been called like Anora, because that's the kind of vibe I got. It's like a Russian version of Cinderella. It's depressing, but it was not supposed to be. It started off going just the right way. then it just went on total Dostoevsky way. Anyways, I loved it. I loved the film. I think it has one of the most powerful endings in indie films. I loved it. Um, Even though I think it's very cliche, because one like your favorite movie of the year is probably Anora. But yeah, I think color grading it, they kind of like perfectly did the color grading in a way that there are moments when you see the characters, তাদের মধ্যে kind of charm এসে পড়ছে, they're kind of sparking, they're kind of thinking that like everything changed in a positive direction, but the color grading throughout the movie remains same. And the entire throughout the entire movie, I think the color grading was not extremely, but kind of like the New York winter gloomy. Yeah, it was kind of cool. Even though the characters were excited, me myself as an audience, I didn't feel really excited for them because I was actually being controlled by the color. So I thought that was like a really clever intentional move by the creator, and huge respect to Sean Baker. I guess if যারা Anora দেখে পছন্দ করছে or কেউ যদি Florida Project দেখে থাকে, I think you guys should like watch Anora or Florida Project, vice versa. And I think there is another film called Red Rocket. So যারা কেউই দেখে নাই, I think if you like one of them, do watch Red Rocket as well. যেটা আমি এখনো দেখি নাই, but I know that like Tangerine, Red Rocket, Florida Project, and Anora, these are like the main 4 films of Sean Baker যেটা last 10 বছরে বানানো হয়েছে, এই 4টা, and all of them kind of contain like similar, there are like similarity. You will see that like, you know, Sean Baker kind of like দুর্বলতা কোথায়, kind of like weakness কোথায়. Anyway, it was a good watch. It's probably gonna win Oscar and probably gonna get like a whole bunch of nominations in this award season. Yeah, that's like Anora. I'm not sure if I should talk about like the substance. And আমি আরেকটা খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং জিনিস খেয়াল করছি in this year, যে kind of সবার ফেভারিট ফিল্ম লিস্টের মধ্যে একটা মুভি বারবার আসছে, সেটা হলো খুবই গ্রোটেস্ক একটা মুভি. It's called The Substance. So The Substance, I'm not sure, probably Anora, probably not the most talked. I'm probably ভুল বলছি. If it's not Anora, it's probably The Substance. The Substance was a really colorful experience. এই মুভি অ্যাকচুয়ালি তেমন কোনো সাবস্টেন্স নাই, other than it's like it's a horror film. It's a sci-fi horror film, but ওই রকম horror না. Let's say এটা একটা body horror film, and আমার কাছে personally মনে হয়েছে it was a tribute to David Cronenberg, and David Cronenberg is like the king of body horror. And David Cronenberg দেখে নাই, you should. He made movies like Videodrome, Shivers, Crash, A History of Violence, and David Cronenberg is freaking awesome. He's one of my favorite horror movie creators, so definitely do watch him. And I've probably also talked about like Brandon Cronenberg, David Cronenberg's ছেলে. Brandon Cronenberg made Infinity Pool and Antiviral, two really good sci-fi movies. So yeah, maybe check them out. Anyway, The Substance. So The Substance is like, it gets really hot at some point, and at some points that it's just straight out grotesque. এর বাইরে আমি জানি না actually কেমন explain করে. There is Margaret Qualley, the movie kind of like the main attraction. সে like, I don't know, like, what do you call it, like ছোট ছোট জামা কাপড় পরে বেশ কয়েক জায়গায় নাচছে, যেটা সবার কাছে খুবই মজা লাগছে. I think that was the basically Substance's best part, and probably Margaret Qualley's জন্য সবার কাছে এত মজা লাগছে. And Margaret Qualley যারা চিনে না, she's probably in multiple movie মধ্যে ছিল, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And personally, I'm definitely আমার তার work ভালো লাগে. And there was this one film last year, আমি নাম ভুলে গেছি for some reason. I mean, তার performance সবসময় ভালো, and in movie performance she did really well. But other than that, আমার মনে হয় না The Substance এর মধ্যে there was much substance. But I think it's a really fun watch. Probably I will watch it again. And it's like a really good watch. Everybody likes to watch. It's like a really good classic Hollywood movie. Not classic, but it's a good Hollywood experience. Other than that, I don't know, like substance. It's just substance. The substance. It's not like the substance hate kursi. I didn't hate the substance. I definitely liked it a lot. But there were some other movies যেগুলো আমার মানুষ খুবই পছন্দ করছে, বাট আমি পার্সোনালি একদম পছন্দ করি নাই. So there's this movie, the Oddity. This film, I have no idea actually. It's a horror movie. I did watch it. It had probably Rotten Tomatoes 95% এর উপরে rating. অনেকের কাছে অনেক ভালো লাগছে. I thought it was a very generic horror movie. 6 out of 10 is like the max I will go with it. But people rated it 8, 8.5 or whatever. I just didn't get much of it, to be honest. I'm like, I just didn't like it. And then there is this film, Longlegs, যেটাতে নিকোলাস কেজ আসলো, and তার ক্যারেক্টারটা stupid as fuck ছিল, বাট তারপরেও মানুষের কাছে অসাধারণ লাগছে. অনেকের টপ 10 লিস্টের মধ্যে Longlegs ছিল. যেটা Longlegs wasn't a bad film, to be honest. It was a good horror movie. It had a like above average plot. It had good cast, and the movie itself looked really good. The movie main character je play korse, she also played the main character in It Follows, and It Follows is one of my favorite horror movies. I watched It Follows like 5 or 6 times. So we same actors অনেকদিন পর একটা horror movie করছে, and the color grading of It Follows kind of matches with Longlegs, which I definitely loved. But Longlegs wasn't the type of movie that like top 10 এর মধ্যে রাখা লাগবে or whatever. I mean, in a lot of sense, মানুষের অনেক ভালো লাগছে, I just didn't get it. It was a good horror movie, maybe above average, but come on, just not like really good horror movie. It's a good horror movie. It's not like really, really good horror movie. I mean, personally, কারো মুভির উপর I don't like to shit on films, but there is this one film I saw, the TV glow. That's basically the title of the film. I saw the TV glow. Fucking hated it. I don't know why people liked it, to be honest. I just fucking hated it. It's a stupid fucking film. That's what I have to say about it. It's a fucking stupid film. Anyway, so basically 2024 সালে there was like some other really good films যেগুলো আমার কাছে ভালো লাগছে. There's this one thriller movie that's called Trap, but M. Night Shyamalan বানাইছে. And Trap was a fun film, I think. Yeah, it's not big. It's a short film, and I think if people will like it, if people watch it, I think Trap was a fun watch. And M. Night Shyamalan আগের মুভি থেকে ওটা ভালো লাগছে আমার কাছে, যেটা Cabin in the Woods or whatever. Not Cabin in the Woods, but like whatever, Knock at the Woods, or Knock at the Cabin. But we talked about that film previously, and Shyamalan's last কয়েকটা মুভির মধ্যে I guess Trap was pretty good. Again, I really liked it. And there is this like horror movie called Late Night with the Devil. Late Night with the Devil was really good, to be honest. It's because Late Night with the Devil এর সেটিংটা খুবই weird ছিল. Basically the entire movie একটা kind of chamber piece এর মতো পুরো মুভিটা take place করছে inside like a studio. যেমন it's like a late night TV show, right? So যেমন late night TV show like SNL, then there is Jimmy Kimmel, আর কতগুলো জিমি টিমি আছে, whatever, এই late night, Saturday night, whatever. ওই একটা স্টুডিওর মধ্যে যে শোগুলো হয়, that's like entire film basically একটা স্টুডিওতেই, that's a horror film. And that was a different approach. I'm pretty sure যে like এটা খুব চ্যালেঞ্জিং একটা প্রজেক্ট ছিল. To pull something off like that is like, it takes a whole lot of creativity and a whole lot of dedication and effort and engineering. So yeah, সবকিছু মিলায় I thought it was really good. And I think 2024 সালের অনেক ভালো মুভি আসছে, এগুলো আমার দেখাই হয় না ম্যাক্সিমাম. There are like so many movies that I want to watch. Then I mean, এখন actually list করে রাখছি. Let me see my Letterboxd. So basically there's this one film. No, there are two films that আমি খুব দেখার ইচ্ছা করতেছে, বাট আমি অনেকদিন ধরে দেখতে চাইতেছি, বাট এগুলো খুঁজে পাইতেছি না. One is Perfect Days. I think Perfect Days বেশ কয়েকটা ওয়েবসাইটে নাই. একটা ওয়েবসাইটে আমি পাইছি, but there is no subtitle. It's a Japanese film. And then there is The Beast. I think The Beast is a French sci-fi film, যেটা আমি কোনো জায়গায় পাইনি। And yeah, it's kind of sad যে like এই মুভিগুলো পাওয়া যায় না, or whenever I find them they're like subtitle নাই. It's kind of sucks. And then other than that, then there's this another popular film. It's called Sometimes I Think About Dying. And then there's another one, Emilia Paris. There is Sing Sing. There is Nickel Boys. There is Conclave. এই মুভিগুলো আমার এখন দেখা হয়নি. There's The Brutalist. So yeah, এগুলো definitely আমার watch list আছে currently. I'm probably gonna watch them in the next, like in this month or something. And then there Nosferatu. We talked about Nosferatu in this podcast a long time ago, and Nosferatu actually বের হয়ে পড়ছে. Yeah, recently I guess অনেকে দেখলো. So yeah, like, I'm not sure যে like actually online আছে কিনা, but I will try to find it. যেহেতু, well, I don't have access to like theaters to experience movies, so yeah, whatever. Yeah, I guess like that's like my movie talk for this episode. I have no idea, আমার কোনো plan ছিল না to talk about movies and whatever. It's been a really weird podcast. I kind of like doing it. I mean, to be honest, probably অনেকে এটা খেয়াল করছে the first day I was sounding like really weird and really upset. It's probably partially because I was, but এখন আমি তেমন, it feels kind of good. And I'm kind of relieved feel করতেছি in a lot of sense. You know, it kind of feels like it kind of feels good to be back doing what you like to do, whatever. Podcast ki actually cholbe kina? There's another good question to ask is what's next? Are we gonna do the podcast? Are we gonna continue uploading? And to be honest, I don't know. Probably we will not. Personally, আমি যদি like প্রত্যেক episode just নিজে নিয়ে বসে কথা বলি, I mean, yes, last একটা বছর like a whole bunch of useless excuses কারণে podcast continue করা হয় নাই. For most part, I'm the person to be blamed. I guess if this kind of works out, like if like couple of people যদি like আমি একা এমনি যদি চিল্লাপালায় কথাবার্তা বলে যদি if people listen to this thing and if people like this and people let me know that actually you guys like it, then maybe I will, or maybe I will do it anyway because, you know, it's been like really lonely year not doing the podcast. So maybe I will. But then I will just probably record the podcast, then I will edit করতে যাই আমার মাথা খারাপ হয়ে যাবে আর তারপরে ওইগুলো আর আপলোড করাই হবে না. So that's another possibility. So I'm probably প্রতি সপ্তাহে একটা করে podcast record করবো, but they're just not gonna come out. I don't know. I'm not really sure about the direction. So আমার এখনো huge অনেকগুলো podcaster plan আমার এখনো এখানে লেখা আছে. There is like huge আমাদের একটা database আছে podcaster on the Notion app, and এখানে like I don't know like 20-25টার উপরে podcast ideas literally লেখা আছে with like list of films and list of themes of films that we want to talk about, list of genres. There's like weird film নিয়ে আমাদের 3টা episode করার কথা. এটার জন্য like I personally watched like 20 films in each category. So probably like I don't know 50 different films. So all those research basically অনেকগুলো হয়ে আছে, but we couldn't make the time to sit together and do the podcast. So I don't know, maybe if we come back we'll have enough content, I guess. I mean enough ideas to spin up contents about. Are also বাচ্চারা যদি, if you guys, I'm not sure তোরা actually শুনতেছিস কিনা, but if I'm sure or whatever people যারা শুনতেছে, do comment. You guys really want to do it, like hit me fucking up. I don't know what the fuck happened to you guys. Whatever. Anyways, this was the podcast, I guess. I'm actually জানি না কতক্ষণ ধরে আমি বক বক করতেছি. Let me see. Oh, it's kind of really good যে এখন 1 ঘন্টা হয় নাই. Thank God. I'm actually ভাবতেছিলাম 2 ঘন্টা ধরে চিল্লাই দিছি. Thank God. So it's okay. It makes me feel really good যে এর 1 ঘন্টা হয় নাই, and probably কাটাকাটি করলে it's probably gonna be like, I don't know, 55 minutes or something. So I guess I have a few minutes to talk about something else. Okay, so whatever. So basically আরেকটা episode যদি বের হয় next week or whatever time, then we're gonna talk about, I mean, there's so many things to talk about, right? I've watched like a couple of TV shows in 2024. Maybe TV shows গুলো নিয়ে কথা বলবো. There are so many movies that are coming out in 2025. Maybe ওগুলো নিয়ে কথা বলবো. Then there is something happened in LA lately, and ওইটার against a different ধরনের reaction আসতেছে. And ওইটার উপর আমার কিছু personal opinion, and like there's so many different things to talk about and so many different things to research about. I don't know. Personally, আমার feel হইতেছে যে like অনেকগুলো শোর আমি জমায় রাখছি. Shore, CHORE. Shore, I guess. Makes your pronunciation আমার সমস্যা হইতেছে. I mean, I've always struggled with pronunciations anyway. Just what I mean is that like অনেক জিনিস আছে. Just the only thing that's lacking in us is basically just enough spark to go about just creating the podcast. I don't say like ask your podcast could be fucking boring একটা podcast হয়েছে because well it's like আড়াইটা বাজে and I'm probably like last 48 hours ঘুমাই নাই. Not like 48, I think 40 hours. I didn't sleep last night. For people who personally know me, they will know why. It was like a very funny reason. MS. It feels good to be back, by the way. It feels good to be back. I hope people listens to this shit. And even if they don't, I hope you motherfuckers listen to this shit. When should I upload this? I mean, probably Calcutta Bardo Summit upload to go. Yeah, that's when I should. But well, oh fuck, I'm already edit kora lagbe. Fucking edit, man. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm actually guaranteed if there will be a next episode soon enough because I fucking hate editing. But maybe I will enjoy it this time. You know, ciao, but that has a way, I guess. So yeah, signing it off. I'm Yasar, and you are listening to We Talk Films. Have a good night, guys.